going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while, but I've been busy, and I always say that. I feel like every time I've been busy. I try to make as much videos as I can, but here we are today, and I have some very shiny, new looking parts here. So I got really tired of breaking axles, put in a new axle, break another axle. So these seem pretty legit. Well, it's because they are. Seems Legit Racing. Big shout out to Mike. Thank you very much for hooking me up with this stuff. What we've got here today is a Ford 8.8 rear end conversion for the E46. Now that it really just, it's like driving around on glass. I broke a bunch of axles, but I broke 2 axles in 2 days, so I'm tired of that. It's a little bit of a pricey upgrade. There's other ways of doing it. You can build your own subframe and piece together axles, but I really just don't have time in my life for doing any of that stuff. So I bought the subframe, I bought the axles, the do-it-yourself kit. You can also get like a fully set up kit comes with a diff and everything. But I just went with the do-it-yourself, so I got the subframe and these axles, and then I bought a 488 from a wrecker, and so the 488 is an independent rear suspension differential out of I got mine out of an Explorer anywhere from 2006 to 2010, I believe. So there's room there. There's tons of exploders out there. Should be pretty easy for you guys to find. And then I got my buddy Doug, down the road Doug, the diff guy, to rebuild it and take a look at it. It did have a bad bearing, so I'm glad I did that. But yeah, anyways, in this video, just gonna pull the subframe, we'll put in diff bushings, just kind of a step-by-step process of what it's gonna take to get this rear end in. I mean, as far as the website's concerned and says, it just, you can use all of your stock arms. Everything should be pretty straightforward. Might have to clearance the upper control arm a little bit, but other than that, it should be a simple drop and mount. So we'll get going on that. Yeah, so first thing we'll do is I'll put the car on the hoist. We'll rip out the rear end. I'll just do a quick buzz of those. I'll show you guys what it takes, and then I'm gonna have to put bushings in this differential, which is pretty straightforward, as long as they don't break the cast aluminum housing. And Bob's your uncle. We're in like Flynn. So thanks for tuning in. Let's get to work. Alrighty, I got my beautiful car up in the air. Got my friggin' sick stage wheels off. One thing I like to note, and I think it's important to say, if you have a big heavy V8 in the front of your car and you're using a hoist and you're removing the whole rear end, make sure you do something to hold your car down, because wouldn't that be bad if you take your rear end out and the whole car flips over forward. So I always like to make sure that there's a safety of some sort. I just got that ratchet strap running through my door to the other side, to the other hoist arm. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty simple. I say that now, but you always run into something. Basically, drop your exhaust. For me, it's easy. I got a V-band right here. Gonna need to remove your drive shaft. Bingo, bango. Undo your brakes. And what else? You're gonna wanna undo your strut or your shock. I'm just gonna leave my shock in and undo it here. ABS sensors, if you still have them connected, but for some reason I think I do. Yes, I do. You're gonna wanna undo those so those wires can go freely. And there's 2 nuts on your e-brake cable in the cab. You just pop your e-brake boot off and you'll see those nuts. Crack those, and then that way your e-brake cables can come out. And once that's done, all you gotta do is uno, dos, tres. I don't know what the Spanish word for 4 is, but there's number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this whole thing should pop out, as well as your trailing arms. You can undo your trailing arms right here. You can do it on the ground. Usually put a couple jack stands underneath, then undo those last 4 subframe bolts. If you have a hoist, a luxury like I do, then you just go up on the hoist and carefully guide it off. So I will get to cracking those bolts and we'll get this thing out of here. Okay, we got our jack stands set up. Everything's undone, brake lines, and we just got to undo the 4 subframe bolts. And then we can go up with the hoist, and theoretically this thing should come out. Will it come? Everybody wants to know. Yeah, just do little shots at a time. Yep. 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 Oh, buddy. Okay, stop. Just make sure there's nothing connected. Do you see anything connected? Oh, just those cables. They should pull out on their own.
Sorry,
Booyah. All right, that's easy. It's out. Not much we have to do here. We'll just undo the arms, take the axles out, pop these guys out because we're going to reuse those in our new subframe. I'm running Condor bushings, so I'm just going to keep these and reuse these. They're not that old, so that's simple. But for now, I'm going to get on to another venture here, which is putting in our new diff bushings. Not necessary, but I figure solid state bushings will be better than these guys. As you can see, they're pretty wiggly. I mean, if this is mounted solid, theoretically it's going to be easier on your CVs because this can't move. But I mean, when you have big horsepower, everything's going to move. There's always going to be a weak point. Hopefully that's not the chassis. But anyways, we're going to put solid bushings in. I always like to start with, when I'm changing bushings, is melt the rubber out. It's kind of fun. I really like burning stuff, so we're gonna melt this rubber out, which is super easy. You just get it lit and it'll burn itself out. And then after that, we can take a look at how this actual sleeve works in here, because we're gonna have to remove that. So let's get these things on fire. Okay, so Ben and I figured out the best way to do this, and that's with a lot of F words.
A lot of mean words.
A lot of mean words.
Make the diff feel hated.
That's right. But no, seriously, if yours looks like this, you're gonna have a problem. So we're gonna zip on this side.
I might pull this whole inside out.
Oh, you might.
I almost got it all the way around.
We started off with trying to burn the bushings out, and that didn't work very well because Ford rubber doesn't burn. And now we're pulling inserts out. Pliers incoming. Grip it and rip it. Oh wow.
One last thing in our way.
Nice. So just down in here, we're gonna cut this black stuff out, and then our best course of action is to take the Dremel and cut down this sleeve and then bend it in and then pop it out, just like so. But we're gonna do it better this time.
All right, look at this.
Okay, we're going in.
Yeah, cut line.
Look at that cut. That's how you cut shit, man. Oh, careful, otherwise you might lose too much of the aluminum.
Erosion.
Yeah. Erosion.
Oh, buddy.
Look at that. Look at that bad Sally.
Oh.
Bingo! Okay, now that we've got all that cleaned up, it's time to clean this. Just gonna take the wire wheel and give it a good dusting. Okay guys, I got the holes all cleaned up, and then what you're gonna wanna do is use a press. Do not try and hammer your new bushings in. I saw another video, I think it was the Seems Legit video actually, and they used a hammer and they broke one of these ears off. So use a press, clean it out. Mine was really bad inside, so I had to really clean it out. Use a press, put those in. They slip in pretty nice. This really helps to have a second person with you, because this is an awkward piece to put in a press. So have a friend hold the diff while you line it up. Make sure you get those going in straight, because this is a cast aluminum housing and it can break quite easily. So do not use a hammer. Anyways, now that I got those in, I also just pulled my old bushings out of my subframe, which are actually new bushings. When I did the subframe reinforcement, I used Condor bushings. They just popped out of there like nothing and popped in there. They're really great bushings. I highly recommend them. And so now, pretty simple. All I'm gonna do is take your axle nut off and pop these two arms off, and then that whole piece can slide out and we can just attach it right to the subframe, theoretically. So I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so I've removed both my trailing arms with the suspension arms. 1, 2, I've successfully made a mess. Once you're done that, I bolted up my diff to the subframe, and the axles come with the diff stubs torqued to spec from factory on there. So I figured, hey, why not pull those nicely torqued axles apart? I'm gonna stuck the diff stub end in the diff, and I'm gonna stick that end into there, and then we're gonna attach our arms and repeat for both sides. Then we can see what the finished product looks. So I'm just gonna slip that in there. Make sure you clean out your wheel bearing real good, and it's always good to throw a little bit of grease on the end of the splines. Chuck the arms back on, and I'll repeat for the both sides. Bingo! I got Stinley here. We got the subframe back up in the car. Everything's bolted together. We're just buttoning up a few things, and yeah, we'll go for a test drive here pretty quick, but standard procedure. We haven't run into any problems. Just bolt the thing in. All right, guys, she's feeling pretty good. I'm hearing a little bit of noise on hard cornering, but I think I know what that is. I think the upper control arms need a little clearancing. But other than that, she's a freaking dandy. Gonna go see if we can find a place to do a little bit of a stress test here. Yeah, that's a good stress test. She works. Okay, got her back to the shop here. I have found the culprit to that noise we were hearing. You can see there, the outer stub on the axles is rubbing on the upper control arm. I've already done some clearancing, it looks like, from that shenanigans, but I'm gonna pop. All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop these, take the strut out and drop it down, pull that upper control arm off just on this end, and we'll clearance that. But other than that, it felt great. I was weeping out of the diff here a little bit too. Make sure your axle stubs are clicked all the way in. And yeah, so both sides, you can see I have a little bit of upper control arm clearancing to do, but other than that, it felt great. So I'm just gonna grind those back. One thing I recommend, I went on to I went on to Rock Auto. They have, you can get X3 upper control arms, which are the same as E46, but they're steel. So they're 25 bucks each. I'm gonna grab a couple of those because I feel like if I clearance those upper control arms, I don't know much about cast aluminum, but I think I like the idea of having steel in there better. So I'm gonna order those, clearance these for now, and we'll get this thing back on the road and we're gonna go drifting here pretty soon. There is a better view. So I'm gonna take some out of here, take some out of the middle, and a little bit on the left side. Always probably take a little bit extra, more than you think you need, but yeah, I definitely think about changing these out for some aftermarket arms, which I will do down the road, or those X3 ones. I think it's 2004 or 5 that the X3 started. Steel. So steel is your friend. It bends instead of cracks like this will. So clearance those, and that'll be it. All right, guys, we made it back to the shop. The new rear end seemed to be running just fine. So all is happy, didn't break any axles. Hopefully we're not gonna break any more axles. One thing I recommend is to make sure that your diff stubs are beaten all the way into the diff, because if that little bowl clamp isn't all the way in, or bowl clip, if that isn't all the way in, then your diff stubs can back out, and I had that happen on the one side and it leaked diff fluid everywhere, and you could damage your diff stubs or your axles. So make sure those are all the way in. Other than that, I mean, fairly straightforward. Probably didn't even need to make a video, but if you guys are doing research on the Seems Legit rear ends and this popped up, I mean, you got a yay from me. It seems great so far. Thanks so much to the guys from Seems Legit Garage and those fancy G-Force axles. I'm really looking forward to putting them to the test this weekend. Final bout in Medford. Me and some friends are driving down. We'll be there. Come say hi. And come watch the drifting because it's going to be sick. Really looking forward to it, and really looking forward to having some more faith in my rear end now, and hopefully that all goes well. I will report back to you guys. I will be making a final boat drift video, so stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video, and it help me make money so I can do more of this shit. It's awesome. Thanks guys, we'll see you next time.